coming right at me. I don't know if he's getting out of the way. I think he wants me to go. Here we go. Must be hard trying to transport a house. He'd rather stop. He was doing what I was doing, avoiding an accident. If I hit him, then I'm at fault.
Continue on Highway 15.
Well, we got through that.
In 1.5 kilometers, make a U-turn.
Did you see that old church? Maybe you missed it. It's about 150 years old. It's all abandoned and empty.
When possible, make a U-turn.
You see them from time to time. The remnants of old Ukrainian farmers.
In 1 kilometer, make a U-turn.
Yeah.
When possible, make a U-turn.
Hmm. That's my Android trying to direct me through this neighborhood.
In 2.5 kilometers, make a U-turn.
Mm-hmm. We got Buku movement. When possible, make a U-turn. Over on the left there, they got that mustard seed going on. And over on the right, it looks like I made that rhyme. That ain't no crime because I'm a poet. I didn't even know it. There was this one time I had a delivery down on someone's farm, and I had to drive down these gravel roads, single lane gravel roads to get there. And I figured if the farmers can do it, I can do it. Oh, look at this here. Here's the remnants of the old Ukrainian farmers. You see that old house there? That's about 150 years old. That might even be a church or a school. Avonlea, it says there. Cooper and Sons. So Cooper, what is that? What ethnicity is that? Cooper. Alice Cooper. Mr. Cooper. Or is it Mr. Hooper? Is that Francais? Is that Francophone? Is that Anglophone? Anglais? Oh, look at this here. An old Red River cart almost. It's made out of metal though. Yeah. I think that was a Red River cart. Yeah. Métis. That's what they call us nowadays. I don't think Gabriel Dumont and his brothers called themselves that. It means mixed. I'm native, but I'm mixed. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm a mutt. That's the language. That's the language of race, as in mixed race. They used to want to classify everything. When they started to educate themselves about the world, they wanted to classify animals by pedigree. And so you could have a thoroughbred horse, meaning you couldn't breed it any more thorough than that. Oh look, there's some kind of a gazelle eating the farmer's crops. And so they started to look at people as pedigrees. Oh, here comes another house, I bet. They're not flagging me down though. But I had better slow it. Oh, look at this. There's a flag. There's a flag showing up at the last second. House moving. The other guy got out. So much for hard work. So much for the hard workers. Hey? if we're going to be racist about it. That was a white man. If we're going to talk, since we're talking race and pedigree, I don't know what his pedigree is in terms of whiteness, in terms of race. What's his pedigree? But he didn't get out of his truck, so he can't be the supreme white. Must be some other lower on the rung pedigree, if we're talking about the old race theory that they came up with, that they used against us, all of us, mind you, not just indigenous people. But it would have been better if he got out of that truck rather than waving the flag from the car seat of that truck. It would have been better. Yeah. I heard that it costs $100,000 to move a house like this. $100,000 to move a house about 100 kilometers. No. 200 kilometers. It costs about $100,000 to move a house. I heard somebody talking about them getting that priced out for themselves. Did you see that house wobbling? Did you see it? Did you see it? Bethlehem Road. We're Jesusing now. They killed those kids in the name of Jesus. Apparently. The Catholics. I don't know how they're going to spin that one. Because it sure doesn't look good for them. I don't mean to laugh at the atrocity, but well, it was like that one organizer said, and he organized that convoy in Ottawa. He said those kids, they won't ever have a Father's Day. Well, I never had a father. Not after what they did to my father. My father was definitely absent. There, but not there. He wrote a song about himself called The Master of Disaster. Well, they turned him into what they wanted him to be, which is a white man. He became a white man. Not the ideal kind either, but the real kind, the real white man. They corrupted and twisted him so much that he became absent. He was there, but he wasn't there. And they did the same thing to my mother and my grandparents on both sides. Kind of like that dead tree over there in the field. It's there, but it's not there. It's dead. That's the kind of parents I had. That's the kind of grandparents I had. That's what my family was like. There, but not there. Dead, like a tree in the field. It's there, but it's dead. Aunts and uncles. And they had children. They had us, little children. And they tried to kill us. They used our parents against us. They poisoned all the Canadians against us. That's Canada Day. All for this right here, what you're seeing right there. All for that. Can you see it? Can you see it? Yeah, there was a guy named Brian Giesbrecht. He got published by the Winnipeg Sun. They published his opinion, and he said that we should just get over it. Just get over the genocide that's going on all around you right now. That right now in this present moment, and all those children buried in a mass grave by the Catholic Church. Just get over it. I could reflect that opinion, I guess, using the same argument against them. About people who survived cancer, families who have lost their children to car accidents and drunk drivers. About the Humboldt Broncos, we could probably reflect the same argument to Brian Giesbrecht. But that would be rude. That wouldn't be a very... If we keep reflecting that sort of stuff at each other, we'll get nowhere. There'll be no peace. And that's why you don't hear too many indigenous people, Aboriginal people, saying, get over it, Brian. Get over all the small children dying of cancer. Move on. But Brian Giesbrecht, he's a troll. And trolls They lack empathy. It's amazing how much empathy they don't have. They're just careless. They could care less. And that's where that comes from. Get over it. Just get over it. The best thing for Aboriginal people, he says, is to just get over it. Forget about it. Move on. Death is a part of life. Loss, he says. Well, I don't know what he says, but that's what it's all meant, to get over it. When they say get over it, that's what they mean. It lacks empathy, it lacks compassion, understanding. It lacks insight. And that's what Brian Giesbrecht is lacking, is empathy and insight. He doesn't care. All he cares about is himself. He doesn't care. Him and all of his followers that agree with him, they don't care. And if you go through the Winnipeg Sun, you'll see all the companies that advertise. That's how the Winnipeg Sun makes money, is through advertisements. You'll see all those advertisements, and they all support the Winnipeg Sun, and they support Brian Giesbrecht and his opinion, and they support white supremacy and genocide in Canada. As simple as that. Simple as that. That's the fact, Jack. That's the reality. I don't know if Safeway's advertising in there. I don't know if Food Fair is advertising in there. I don't know. You have to go get a Winnipeg Sun yourself and look at who's advertising. And that's how you'll know who's supporting this cause of white supremacy and genocide in Canada. It could be Scotiabank. It could be Home Hardware or Home Depot, Canadian Tire. If they're advertising in the Winnipeg Sun, they're supporting Winnipeg Sun, and the Winnipeg Sun supports Brian Giesbrecht. That's the math. That's the logic. They'll deny it, but as long as they're advertising in the Winnipeg Sun, they're supporting the Winnipeg Sun, and the Winnipeg Sun supports Brian Giesbrecht and the Brian Giesbrechts of the world. So go out and get a Winnipeg Sun and look at the people who are causing the genocide, sowing the seeds of doubt. You'll see. They support the eradication of Aboriginal people in Canada, to wipe them out entirely, to assimilate them. Well, that's Canada Day. Giesbrecht. That's German, isn't it? If you read that book, Patterns of Prejudice, A History of Nativism in Alberta by Howard Palmer, my favorite, most enlightening book, he talks about how the British elite treated the German people when they came to Canada. Not very nice. And here we have Brian Giesbrecht. I think that's German. I don't know if there was a German Empire back then. Wilhelm Kaiser. I could tell you a story about Kaiser. I will later. Anyways. Go ahead, enjoy yourself.